let's talk about sheep. I want to talk about pastoralism a little bit. Let's say you were wandering around and you had observed how there's these animals that, they're good to eat, and they seem to congregate into larger numbers naturally. So you go out and you capture, maybe you kill a mama, and then there's the baby. You don't want to kill the baby. You're sentimental. So you take the baby home with you. That baby grows up with you. It learns to live around people. Then this animal, let's say it's a reindeer. So this reindeer is domesticated. It has a little baby for, however that happens. So now, and then that baby grows up 100% around people. So it's very comfortable around people. Then you realize, okay, well, we can continue this. We can make a whole group of reindeer that are comfortable around us, and we don't have to go hunting anymore. And we could even use this reindeer that's not scared of us to trade with other groups of people around. And then you realize that, you might already be a nomadic group of people, but if your main source of food and maybe income comes from this herd of reindeer you've kind of created, and you realize they've sort of eaten everything where you are already, then you would have to start moving around. And if you live somewhere cold, then when the winter comes, you've got to go somewhere warmer so that your reindeer have things to eat for the winter and you don't all die. So then you start moving around. You move with the seasons. You move with the vegetation. So if there's enough vegetation to sustain your flock or your herd, and then all of a sudden you are a group of people who have a herd and who have to move around all the time. So you have become nomadic pastoralists. And then let's say that these people have children and their children are born into a nomadically pastoral lifestyle. Then this is all they know. It becomes normal, and then they spread out. If there's too many people, they would take their herds and spread out to other places. So then this would lead to groups of people having this sort of lifestyle being spread across vast areas. Just sort of naturally throughout the years, there would be a slow propagation of this. It could either start out as people migrating, and then somehow they obtain a herd animal of some sort and they just keep migrating, or it could be this other idea: they migrate because their animals need food. Now keep in mind, this is just a thought experiment, but it seems like a fun idea to kind of, to think about it in not as much terms of dates and facts, but just thinking about how these animals behave and how people behave, and some sort of story that could explain this lifestyle. So yeah, it's just fun to think about. Now, the etymology of the word pastoralism. A pastor used to just be a word for a shepherd or someone who would pasture their animals. So a pastor would move their animals around, and oftentimes you would have whole groups or families of pastors, of shepherds, and they could have herds of reindeer, sheep. And when something is pastoral, that is the idea of that thing. A person could live a pastoral lifestyle by being a herder of animals, having a flock of sheep. And then the ism part, ism implies a practice. So you could say pastorism is the practice of being a pastor, being a shepherd. And pastoralism is the practice of living a pastoral lifestyle. But more specifically, pastoralism referred to living nomadically as a shepherd. And so you would have your community of people who would all subsist off of your livestock, and you would move around, partially, I think mostly just because grazing animals in one area forever and ever is not really sustainable. Then you have to start bringing in food sources from somewhere else. Like today, people buy food for their animals and then keep their animals where they are. But back in the day, you would take your animals to where the food was. So, you make clothing out of their skin or out of their wool. You live off the milk from these animals. Maybe sometimes you live off the meat. You might slaughter one of your herd, and that meat would either feed a lot of people for a short amount of time, like your whole community, or it would feed your family for quite a long time. So that's pretty easy to imagine. It makes sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I think you should all contemplate becoming shepherds. Bye-bye.